Hello and welcome. If you are watching this video, it is because you are a practitioner or a clinician in the field of wellness and health. I wanted to create this video specifically to come from a clinical standpoint, and you're about to learn the benefits of molecular hydrogen and the technology that has been produced by CellPower water. To give you a bit of context, my name is Carrie Drinkwine, and I am a traditional naturopath as well as a certified regenerative health practitioner. I've been a clinician for a decade, as well as the owner of the Institute of Regenerative Health, where I train and certify regenerative health practitioners around the globe. It is my deepest passion to educate people on how to restore the body's natural state. I am on the board of medicine and science for LumiVitae, which is the overarching company that is sharing CellPower water with you. So first, I want to dive into the incredible importance of molecular hydrogen and understanding why you should absolutely be using this in your practice. If you're not using molecular hydrogen in your practice, you're really missing out on one of the most powerful tools that you could actually have to help restore homeostasis and vitality in your clientele. So to begin, I like to go through some of the basics. Our body is approximately 75 trillion cells and really regulated by two major fluids. We have a blood system, which feeds all of our glands and our organs, and we have a lymphatic system that cleans all of our glands and our organs. Now, these two systems are obviously incredibly important. In addition to every single cell in our body is being nourished and cleaned by these systems. In addition to that, every single cell produces what's called ATP. This is produced by the mitochondria. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. This is essentially the energy that you feel in your body. Well, if you're in the wellness industry and you have patients coming in, you probably know firsthand the very first thing that people are complaining of is fatigue. Fatigue, inflammation, brain fog, and that's just the basics that are very, very common. Now, just because they're common, they are actually not normal. Now, in addition to these common symptomologies, you're probably dealing with people that have much more severe conditions and ailments as well. So I want to explain the next piece of how I view illness and imbalance in the body. When the body produces ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it also produces what's called ROS, reactive oxygen species. And these are essentially a side effect of the ATP, the cellular respiration process. Well, when we have too many ROS, reactive oxygen species, this actually turns into oxidative stress. Reactive oxygen species can be produced for a multitude of reasons, from having too many toxic foods or even over exercising or being exposed to too many chemicals that have come into the body. But when we have this high level of ROS, we have oxidation happening and we need to have reduction happening. There's a ton of scientific and clinical research that shows if we had less oxidative stress in our body and a proper balance of ROS, reactive oxygen species, it would be very difficult to develop illness and disease. So we know that oxidative stress is the precursor for all illness. It's the precursor for the pathology of all disease. We see inflammation and oxidative stress, which begins the downregulation of the cellular function. So let's start to get into where does molecular hydrogen come into all this? And I'm here to tell you there are so many scientific articles to back this up. There's over 2,000 peer-reviewed studies, in addition to a plethora of clinical results. Molecular hydrogen is the single most effective and powerful antioxidant that we can bring into the human body to encourage and activate restoration. I like to refer to molecular hydrogen as activating the body's inner wisdom. It actually just reminds the body of its own intelligence and starts helping it self-repair. Hydrogen is the simplest of all atoms. We're talking a single proton and a single electron. Now, hydrogen is the beginning of all life itself. It was the first atom on the planet. It's where all of creation came from. But here we're talking about hydrogen gas, H2. So as we dive in here, understand that hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the world and it can penetrate every single cell in the body, even the skin. So this is so powerful that hydrogen has this unique ability to enter the skin, enter the cells, enter the body, and start restoration. Molecular hydrogen is deeply researched for its anti inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It has a unique ability to increase your energy, slow down the aging process in our cells, as well as improve muscle recovery after workout. Now, these benefits are obviously needed in today's day and age. There are so many imbalances in the human body that are a direct correlation of excess reactive oxygen species and free radicals that create oxidative stress. These imbalances come through our daily exposure to poor food, chemicals, pesticides, daily life stress, lack of sleep, and beyond. An increase in oxidative stress is the beginning to cellular decline, and it's connected to the pathogenesis of neurological diseases and a multitude of other illnesses. So, with this advanced exposure to toxins and chemicals, and really living in a life where we're behind screens and not super connected to nature, we're seeing a significantly increased level of illness in the human species. This is why I'm overjoyed as a clinician to bring this science to you. Molecular hydrogen therapy has a very unique biological property to selectively scavenge the body for pathological free radicals. It's actually demonstrated a very high therapeutic potential in a multitude of animal studies and some clinical studies where they've discovered that several cellular pathways were being affected by hydrogen therapy in a positive manner. The overall results that were shown was a significant amount of reduction in inflammation and increasing the antioxidant effects of the cell. Molecular hydrogen has this very unique intelligence of its own. It's very selective in its process. When you begin to drink molecular hydrogen water, it actually knows where to go and it will travel to the area that is most in need in your body. When molecular hydrogen has been studied, it's actually appeared to selectively scavenge the body for what's called hydroxyl radicals and perinitric radicals that are responsible for oxidative stress. How brilliant. It just knows where to go. It goes straight to the source of damage and begins to upregulate the function of the mitochondria. That's the power plant of our cell. The most important thing I think about molecular hydrogen is that during this process, it also spares other reactive oxygen species. Like I mentioned, we produce reactive oxygen species as an output to ATP, as a mitochondrial cellular respiration output, and not all of them are bad. So it actually spares things like hydrogen peroxide and superoxide and nitric oxide, which are critical to normal cell physiology. Nitric oxide actually affects the supply and the demand of oxygen, also known as O2. It regulates the vascular tone and the blood flow in the body, and it controls all of our mitochondrial oxygen consumption. Extremely important that this is left alone. The most powerful restorative properties our cells have. As I like to say, molecular hydrogen is awakening the body's inner wisdom. Now, next up, I want to talk about why CellPower water bottle. Why did I choose this device over all of the other molecular hydrogen devices that exist on the market? I'm going to break down the bottle in a very scientific manner for you now. CellPower water has been designed and created by inventor and clinician Nuno Nina. And it is for this reason that I actually chose to align with CellPower water in my clinical practice. I think it's so important to understand not only who is creating your product, but where's the integrity behind the product. Nuno Nina is a passionate clinician and has had over 70,000 patients come through his clinics over the last several decades, helping them restore their vital health through the power of molecular hydrogen and with his own inventions in molecular hydrogen. So who better to be a creator of this than somebody that has seen clinical results and has meticulously invented and crafted every single detail of this bottle. And it is really the CellPower bottle that really stands as a beautiful testament and the commitment of Nuno Nina to deliver these benefits in a very efficient manner to the public. The second part that makes our bottle so special is Not only has it been meticulously designed by Nuno through clinical and real world application experience, but also that we actually own the factory. We're directly involved in the sourcing and the creating of every single raw material that is selected for the CellPower molecular hydrogen bottle. Each material undergoes rigorous testing to ensure that this is the most premium quality. Every part of the bottle, from crafting the molds to every single feature and element you see in the CellPower Vitality vessel, has been designed and created with an immense amount of care and innovation. So let's get into the science of the CellPower bottle, how it works, and why it's superior. Not only is this a molecular hydrogen bottle, I consider this more of a device. Some of us call it a vitality vessel. But the biggest thing it is doing is producing therapeutic levels of molecular hydrogen. So let's start with the process of molecular hydrogen. How do you produce molecular hydrogen? Well, through a process called electrolysis. Now, electrolysis can be an incredibly unpredictable process, and it can produce lots of byproducts and contaminants in that process. Electrolysis is simply creating an electrical charge to create a biochemical change. Now, this is how you actually get more hydrogen gas into the water. But in addition to that, like I mentioned, it can also produce a multitude of other byproducts like chlorine or ozone. And these things actually need and must be removed from the water so that the water is actually therapeutic. So a big piece of this is the level of electrolysis, the voltage that's being used. Generally speaking, most water ionizers or machines that are designed to produce molecular hydrogen use a significantly high voltage. Now, that voltage can also increase the output of more contaminants as well as raise the pH of the water. pH means potential for hydrogen, but when we have a very high alkalinity to the water, when we start to change the chemistry of the water, it actually reduces its therapeutic benefits. Unlike popular belief, we actually do not want alkaline water in our body. It actually significantly compromises the functionality of our gut, which needs to maintain a 2.4 or lower pH. So the water that we recommend putting in the bottle is going to vary from a 4 to a 6.8 pH. No greater than 7 is recommended. Now, let's go into this process of electrolysis. The voltage used for electrolysis is 2.3. This low voltage is so that the pH can maintain itself. So for example, if you put a water of a pH of 5 into the bottle, you're also going to get a water that still has a pH of 5, but you are going to get pure molecular hydrogen water. This is very important because alkaline water actually really compromises the function of our gut. Most water ionizers or devices that are attempting to make molecular hydrogen use a significantly higher voltage and are not able to maintain the pH of the water, which actually turns it into alkaline water. As a clinician, I never recommend alkaline water to any of my clientele. It is incredibly important that the gut pH stays below a 2.4. And if this doesn't happen, you start to see the decline of the digestive capabilities of the gut. It compromises the integrity of the gut lining, the bacterial balance in the gut, in addition to paralyzing some of the gut functions and the ability to create proper peristalsis in the GI. I do have a deeper training video on this, so feel free to reach out to the person that sent this to you and you can receive a training on the best water practices for your digestive system. Next up is the quality of the electrodes. The electrodes are incredibly important. The material and the quality of the electrodes used for the electrolysis process is going to deeply influence the longevity of the device that you're using and the purity that is produced. Now, most bottles actually that were taken apart, we noticed that the electrodes were not necessarily coated or protected. We have our own electrodes that are the highest quality in the world, and they are platinum and titanium electrodes that will not leach metals into the water. Now, this is very, very important that during the electrolysis process, we're not leaching heavy metals into the water. We know how heavy metals are disruptive to the nervous system function, to the lymphatic system, and the body overall. Next up is our membrane. This truly is a true statement to say that we have the highest quality membrane in the world that has been designed directly by Nuno. The proton exchange membrane is incredibly important for the purification of these contaminants and byproducts from the water. This is also how the electrolysis process works. The proton exchange membrane is incredibly important in the process of electrolysis, and it essentially works as a barrier that separates the anode and the cathode into compartments in an electrolysis cell. And it plays an incredibly crucial role in the elimination of ions and byproducts that are created in the water, things like ozone and chlorine. In order to remove these, you need to have a very high quality proton exchange membrane. Now, the best membrane in the world, which is currently considered to be the DuPont, we were able to tear right in half. Our membrane has been meticulously designed and cannot be destructed. We tried, believe me, actually tried to pull it apart. You cannot. It is so strong, and our membrane is not coated specifically to prevent from any leaching as this separation is happening in electrolysis, as well as the removal of unwanted byproducts. So let's break down the science of what's actually happening in electrolysis. So we have anode and cathode reactions. During the electrolysis process, we're taking and bringing in electrical current that's applied to the cell or to the water. And at the anode side, this is the positive electrode side. This is where oxidation is occurring. So we would know this as like more of that sort of energizing side. And what's happening is the release of oxygen ions from the water molecules. So the anode gets the oxygen and then the cathode gets the hydrogen. So this is the negative electrode, and this is where reduction takes place. So oxidation and reduction in this balance is incredibly important to the overall vitality of our body, that we don't have too much oxidative stress, that we actually can have reduction afterwards. So in the process of electrolysis, we are actually separating these two factors. The anode gets the oxygen and the cathode gets the hydrogen gas or the hydroxide ions from the water. Now, the membrane is being positioned between the anode and the cathode, and this essentially serves as a barrier that selectively allows the passage of only specific ions while blocking others. The membrane is specifically designed to permit the migration of hydroxide ions, known as OH negative, from the cathode side to the anode side. At the same time, while it's actually preventing the mixing of hydrogen ions from the anode and the hydroxide ions from the cathode. I know that's incredibly deep, but if you're watching this video, it's because you wanted to know the deeper science of how this is working and what is happening. The release and the removal of chlorine and ozone is incredibly important to understand. This is why our proton exchange membrane has been so meticulously designed. In some systems, the selective permeability of the membrane that's being used also does allow the migration of other ions, such as chloride. It's important to understand that if we allow chloride to move through this membrane, these chloride ions can actually react with the water to produce what's called hypochlorite ions and hydrogen gas. The hypochlorite ions can further begin to react to form a chlorine gas and what's called hydroxide ions. Now, these are things that we do not want to be consuming. So it's incredibly important that you have a very high quality membrane that is removing these contaminants and byproducts to prevent from the further production of things like chlorine gas. So I hope you can begin to see why it is so important that you have an incredibly high quality proton exchange membrane, as well as safe and coated electrodes with very high quality material. Now let's move into the hydrogen concentration that's actually produced. The CellPower bottle produces between 1.2 and 1.4 parts per million of molecular hydrogen. And this has shown through the test of time and lots of clinical research with Nuno that this is more than a therapeutic level in the human body. Most machines and devices that we tested, you can actually use an H4 reagent test. We're not actually producing any molecular hydrogen. There was no hydrogen present. In addition to molecular hydrogen being produced, it's also important that you have healthy ratios of what's called ORP, oxidation reduction potential, as well as RH2. So the things that you're looking for in a healthy, therapeutic, balanced molecular hydrogen water is what is the pH of the water? So like I explained earlier, our pH is the same pH that goes in is the same pH that comes out. If you put a water with a pH of 5 in, you're going to get a water with the pH of 5 out. Second is ORP, which means oxidation reduction potential. A positive reading in ORP, oxidation reduction potential, actually means that the substance has an oxidizing agent to it. And a negative reading means that it has a reducing agent. So the level of ORP that is being produced, dependent on the water that's being put in, but in general is negative 600 to negative 400 ORP. Now, next up is RH2, and this essentially measures the amount of electrons in the water and the ability to create more reductants. And this is really important because it's the balance between reductants and oxidants in the water. The RH2 in our water is less than 8. These are the numbers and the ratios that you will be left with at the end of a molecular hydrogen cycle. So you're looking at the same pH, an ORP of negative 400 to negative 600, and an RH2 of less than 8. These ratios are what make our molecular hydrogen so therapeutic. We suggest drinking this molecular hydrogen water within 30 minutes, but we have done some testing, and even after 24 hours, there was still a good amount of molecular hydrogen remaining in the bottle. However, for the highest therapeutic value, we do recommend drinking this within the first 30 minutes. So I hope that explained all about our molecular hydrogen electrolysis and proton exchange membrane process and why it's superior to anything else that exists. Next, I want to go into the other features of this device that really is what makes this so cutting edge. So let's talk about the base of the bottle. In various cultures and traditions, there's something known as vital energy, also known as qi in Chinese medicine. And it's believed that this is absolutely necessary to support vitality in human health. This philosophy is seen as a flow of energy that permeates through the body and all of nature. And with this theory, it is suggested that water is influenced by magnetic fields, or essentially imprint or magnetized, quote unquote, vital energy that we all need to experience in our bodies for vital human health. This is what's known as magnetized water. Now, I do want to take note that this is still currently theory. So our magnets that are in the base are mimicking the magnetic field of the earth. Now, there is no electricity to this, it is simply the magnet alone. In addition to the magnet that is in the base actually unscrews, and this can become a multifaceted device. So with the base of the bottle, we can detach it and you can actually attach it to a larger water vessel. So say you have a plastic bottle that's a full liter or 750 milliliters or above, you can actually screw on the base of the bottle and activate what we would call the 9-minute cycle to bring therapeutic molecular hydrogen into another water bottle. So if you don't want to send your kids out the door with a very nice CellPower bottle, you can actually put that molecular hydrogen into another separate plastic bottle. You will see 3-minute, 6-minute, and 9-minute cycles on this bottle. The 3-minute and the 6-minute cycles are what are recommended when you're using the water inside the bottle. The 9-minute cycle is only utilized when using it on an external bottle that is at least 750 milliliters or larger. Now let's move to the lid of this bottle because here's another groundbreaking science that has been created in the technology of the lid. So in the realm of innovative hydrogen solutions, the CellPower bottle has once again broken the barriers of science and pioneered an unprecedented feature of frequency in the lid, a frequency that is called Lumivitae. Lumivitae standing for light of life. This frequency is designed to replicate the life force and the effects that the sun has on water. So essentially bridging the gap between the natural process of life and modern technology. There's a very profound link between the sun and the water, and it is actually even said by many that the sun actually structures water. So the Lumivitae frequencies mimic the sun, and you are bringing the sun right into your water. Now, there are two other frequency settings on the lid, and one is energy. So it's bringing you into that oxidation side, it's bringing up the energy and the mitochondrial function, and the other is restoration and encouraging and promoting more of the reductive side. So this is going to be used more evening when you're wanting to, reduce some of the stress in the body. So essentially, we've created the earth in a bottle. The frequencies of the sun and this beautiful symbiosis between sun and water, the purest molecular hydrogen water that can be produced, and magnetic field of the earth, all included in one device. Now, to give you another feature, the top of this lid can actually be unscrewed and you can run the LumiVitae cycle on raw living foods. This is going to bring that vibrancy, the energy of the sun back into the food. So it's essentially like the food was just picked from the vine. You are bringing the vitality and the life force back into raw foods so that they are more living. All of these frequencies were not just random. These were carefully curated and crafted based on years of research and understanding of the human body. All of these different features really allows you the ability to customize your hydration experience. So depending on your mood, your needs, your energy, or your intuition, you can actually select a frequency that resonates with you, allowing your water to essentially be informed by the information that you're giving it. CellPower water has essentially integrated and created a union of ancestral wisdom with modern technology. Coming from a clinical perspective, this is the most cutting edge and groundbreaking science that I've ever seen, especially in the field of molecular hydrogen. Not only the ability to produce and craft such beautiful, clean, and therapeutic molecular hydrogen, and with all the other features, this device is truly unmatched. And from a clinical standpoint, everyone drinks water. So, this is the first step to actually creating a harmonious balance and healthy cells within the body. Just change all of the water that you're already drinking to molecular hydrogen water, and you will reap the multitude of benefits that have been scientifically proven. Now that you've heard all of the amazing bottle features, I hope you understand that if you're watching this as a practitioner, this is truly one of our responsibilities to offer the most therapeutic modalities to our clientele. So I hope you can see the cutting edge science, the innovation that's here, and that this really cannot be reduplicated by somebody else or another company. This is now my first approach in every single protocol. The easiest thing we can do is getting people to change their water into therapeutic water. So it's my first step. So as a clinician, oftentimes we have people, call in and book a 15-minute consultation before they actually get in and book a clinical appointment. And our first suggestion now is the molecular hydrogen bottle to start with that before they even arrive inside our door. So we are getting people started right away and already improving how they're feeling before they have their first appointment with us. Now that you've learned a lot about molecular hydrogen and how our technology far surpasses anything that exists in the world, I hope you have the utmost confidence to bring this into your clinical practice to really serve the greater good of all of your clientele and patients. Outside of this being the most therapeutic modality that can exist, to bring in as foundational support for all of your patients and clientele, it also is such a brilliant thing to bring into your business. Not only are you able to receive direct commission off of every bottle, but it opens a world of possibility because everyone drinking out of these bottles is going to share it with somebody. We here at LumiVitae have developed a very generous and beautiful model for affiliates and for people that want to partner with our mission to share therapeutic, safe, and molecular hydrogen across the globe. So, by joining the business side of things, you not only have a direct kickback from the sales to your clientele, but as you share, you will naturally develop a team of people that are sharing for you. People are going to ask, where did you get that bottle? What does it do? Can I get one? And in our model, we have it set up so that you can continue to earn every single time a bottle is shared by you or somebody that you've shared it with. It is the best way to bring in passive income into your business. It's so difficult as a clinician to always just be working hours for dollars and trading your time. I can resonate with this so deeply. I used to work 70 hours a week in my clinic. It ate my soul. I didn't have balance. I was in plenty of oxidative stress because I was so stressed out, and my time was capped, and so was my income. My income was capped by the amount of hours I had in a week. So, adopting a model like this allows you to really leverage building residual income through sharing something so holistic and authentic as molecular hydrogen. This business model is truly the business model that set me free as a clinician. I went from this hours for dollars model to really building passive income and being able to help more people in less time. And a world where everyone has therapeutic molecular hydrogen is a world where everyone has taken the first step into personal health sovereignty. I hope you have enjoyed this video and this perspective, and I encourage you to reach out to the person that sent this video to you, and they will get in touch with you with a specific link to share CellPower water through LumiVitae with you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your community having the best and most therapeutic molecular hydrogen as a restorative modality.